Welcome back. I will now be previewing all of Sunday's and Monday's games of Week 10 in the NFL. Starting with the early bird game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This Week 10 matchup, the Seahawks are sitting at 6-3, while the Buccaneers are sitting at 4-5. This is going to be an interesting matchup, and I got a funny feeling this could very well be an upset, as the Buccaneers have just been so inconsistent as of late. They obviously had that 3-game losing streak, and Brady, I'm sure, would love to get over the hump, get back to 500, but I cannot underestimate these Seahawks anymore. All season, I've been thinking, well, they're okay, but are they really that great? Well, obviously, they're great if they're in first place in their division over halfway through the season. So I will give the edge to the Seahawks. Now, I very well could bite my tongue, and Brady could play absolutely lights out, but he has not played like himself. He does not have the same team he did from their previous championship year from 2 years ago. And even last season, they had a pretty good team, but they still didn't struggle as much last year as they are this year. So I will give the edge to the Seahawks in this matchup. They should get their seventh win of the season. The Minnesota Vikings are heading into Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. And this might sound absolutely insane to say because I'm sure the Eagles are absolutely going to be dominant for the rest of the season. But don't be surprised if this is a preview of the Super Bowl. Now, granted, Josh Allen is hurt, and I don't know if he's playing. He's still questionable, I guess you could say. If he does play and he can stay somewhat healthy, I'm going to give the edge to the Bills, but I can't knock the Vikings. I just believe that they are on a mission to prove everybody wrong, and I mean, they could very well wrap up their division within the next couple of weeks. Their division is extremely weak. If they get their eighth win of the season by week 10, I can see it being lights out in the NFC North. So I'm going to give the edge to the Minnesota Vikings in this particular matchup. Two NFC North rivals in the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. Both teams are struggling. Both teams have 6 losses. Detroit is 2-6, while the Bears are 3-6. I'm going to give the edge to the Bears in this one, even though the Lions got a huge victory last week against their rival Packers. I just don't know if they can get 2 in a row. I just believe Justin Fields, especially as long as he can be that dual threat, whether it's throwing the football or basically being a Patrick Mahomes and running away from people and forcing defenders to chase him for first downs. So I do believe the Bears will have the edge in this contest, and they should get their 4th win of the season. Jacksonville is heading into Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. The Jacksonville Jaguars are sitting at 3-6, while the Chiefs are sitting at 6-2. Trevor Lawrence taking on Patrick Mahomes. There's not really much else you can say. Despite Jacksonville getting a huge win last week against the Raiders, I don't see lightning striking twice, especially when you're playing in Arrowhead with that crowd and all that noise. So I'm going to give the edge to the Chiefs. They should get their 7th win of the season as they defeat the Jaguars. The Cleveland Browns are heading into Miami. And for the Browns, to say the least, this has definitely been a disappointing season, especially after all the hype with Deshaun Watson in the offseason getting signed and Jacoby Brissett having a great start to the season. Now they have kind of fallen off of the grace. They're sitting at 3-5, while the Dolphins are sitting at 6-3. I'm going to give the edge to Miami in this one. I just believe they have a better overall team. I don't see it being a blowout. A lot of these contests lately have been a lot closer than what I had anticipated. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 20-17 or 24-20 type of game, but anything can happen. But Miami should get the victory and get their 7th win of the season. The Houston Texans are heading into New York to take on the Giants. And for the Giants, they're going to look back, trying to get back into the win column. They obviously lost last week, but they're sitting pretty in that NFC East in second place, I do believe, with a 6-2 record. While the Houston Texans have been struggling, to say the least. They are at 1-6-1. So therefore, this would be a huge upset if Houston were to win, but I just don't see them getting the job done. The Giants should get back into the win column and get their 7th win of the year. The New Orleans Saints are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anytime in the past, I would have been Drew Brees taking on Ben Roethlisberger, but unfortunately, both those quarterbacks, respectively, have retired. So both these teams are, how do you put it, are in a transformation stage right now. The Steelers are obviously not playing that great. They're sitting at 2-6, while the Saints aren't looking any better at 3-6. I'm going to give the edge to the Saints in this one. I just believe having that, having a quarterback with some experience in Dalton. I know he hasn't played that great, but I just believe he should play better than Trubisky or Pickett, whoever Pittsburgh decides to dress at the quarterback position. So I will give the edge to New Orleans Saints. They should get their 4th win of the year. The Denver Broncos are heading into Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Broncos have been struggling mightily. They are sitting at 3-5, while the Titans have the opposite record. They are sitting at 5-3. Russell Wilson has not been playing like himself, and I don't believe paying a guy in the offseason, giving him a $240 million extension is justified. Wait to see how he does on the field, and this year he has not played like himself. He is not the dual threat like he was in Seattle. He can't run out of the pocket and try to scramble for a first down. He hikes the ball and he tries to find an open receiver. If he can't find one, chances are he's hitting the deck. So I'm going to give the edge to the Titans. I just believe they are a better overall team, and they should get their 6th win of the year. The Indianapolis Colts are taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Both these teams are not playing that great. There were high expectations for both of these teams in the offseason, and they have not done their just rewards on the field. The Colts are sitting at 3-5-1. The Las Vegas Raiders are sitting at 2-6. Now it's going to be interesting because you're going to have Josh McDaniels on one hand, who's coaching the Raiders in his first stint, and now you're going to have Jeff Saturday, who has taken over the coaching job for the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of people are questioning that. They believe that if a coach gets fired, the assistant should come in and sub in for the rest of the season, but Jim Irsay does not work that way. I don't know if really one team has a better overall edge coming into this matchup. I mean, on paper, theoretically, the Raiders should get the victory, just like they should have gotten the victory last week against the Jaguars, but it was not meant to be. So I'm going to give the Colts the advantage in this one. Like I said, unless Derek Carr and Devontae Adams can absolutely click and stay consistent from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, the Raiders just have a lot of problems, to say the least. So the Colts, I will give them the edge. Whether you call it an upset or not, I don't know if you can. Like I said, one team just has one more win than the other, and they're both below 500. The Dallas Cowboys are heading into Green Bay to take on the Packers. One team has been absolutely lights out, while the other team has fallen off the face of the earth. The Dallas Cowboys are sitting at 6-2. Dak Prescott is leading his Cowboys into Lambeau to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, who have been struggling. 3-6 is their record, and after their loss last week to Detroit, you can pretty much say the season's basically over. If you lose this game, you're sitting at 3-7. There's no way you're making a wild card spot, let alone trying to push for a division title. So the Cowboys, who are mightily heavily favored in this matchup, should get the victory in Wisconsin. The Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams, two NFC West rivals. On any other year, any other given Sunday, I'd say this is an absolute must-watch, but both of these teams are struggling. The Cardinals are sitting at 3-6. The Rams are sitting at 3-5. Both these teams are below 500, and they're both going to be fighting for a playoff spot if they even try to even make it. So if one team wants to make it, they got to win over their opponent. I'm going to give the edge to the Rams in this one, even though they have not been as well. They are technically the Super Bowl champs, so I got a funny feeling they could just easily get it in gear and start going on some winning streaks, starting with this particular matchup against the Cardinals. For me, Kyler Murray has just not been himself. I don't know what it is, but I just cannot give the edge to the Cardinals unless he can get 2 or 3 wins under his belt. So like I said, Matthew Stafford should get his 4th win with the Rams. The Los Angeles Chargers are taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Chargers are sitting at 5-3, while the San Francisco 49ers are at 500 with a 4-4 record coming into this Week 10 Sunday night matchup. I'm going to give the edge to the 49ers in this one. No disrespect to Herbert. He has been playing pretty decently, and the Chargers overall aren't that bad of a team, but I just believe having home field advantage, having Jimmy G, and having Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, I would not be surprised if one of those guys, if not both those guys, can light it up against the Chargers. So I do believe the 49ers should get the victory on Sunday night. The Washington Commanders are heading into Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Commanders are sitting at 4-5, while the Eagles are still the last perfect team in the NFL. They are sitting at 8-0. I want to give the edge to the Eagles in this one. I mean, you look at all of their positions, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, there's just something special about this Eagles team this year. And unless this is one of those games where you underestimate your opponent and play like absolute crap, I believe the Eagles should fly into week number 11, still remaining perfect at 9-0. So the following 4 teams have their bye week. The Baltimore Ravens are sitting at 6-3. They are off. The New England Patriots are sitting at 5-4. They are off. The New York Jets are sitting at 6-3. They are off. And the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 5-4, they are also off on week number 10. So until next time, hope you all enjoyed the video and take care.